Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here this afternoon for another edition of NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. We are Busch Series racing on the custom schedule season today for the running of the Finale 250 at the Richmond Raceway. 5 races to go coming into this one this afternoon, and our driver Greg Biffle currently has a 185-point lead over Ron Hornaday Jr. for the Busch Series custom schedule season title. Now coming into this race, Ron Hornaday has beaten Biffle in each of the last 2 races to close that gap from 247 points back 2 races ago now to 185. And a 21st place finish at Texas last night for Greg Biffle and a 10th place finish at Talladega are not enough to beat the finishes of 7th and 5th for Ron Hornaday in the last 2 races for himself. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we get into tonight's live stream, and today's live stream, and we get to see what the next step in this championship hunt will bring us today. A doubleheader of action for you on this Sunday afternoon. Of course, we have this race for you, and then the Goodyear 400 live race commentary for the NASCAR Cup Series coming up immediately following the finish of this live stream at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time a little bit later on this afternoon. So to give ourselves a little bit of a throwback NASCAR race weekend, we're going to throw it back with a doubleheader today to a classic NASCAR video game before the throwback race begins. So hence this race today. We'll get this one underway. Greg Biffle will be starting on the pole, and let's let the racing do the talking now as the green flag is in the air, and we're underway at Richmond for another race on NASCAR 05. Michael Weeks, Mark DeMars, welcome into the stream. Thanks for being the first down in the chat below and getting this afternoon of racing underway as Greg Biffle will lead lap 1, leading the field through turns 3 and 4. He's got a bad, fast race car today and is looking to dominate early. Trying to grow the points lead out on Ron Hornaday if he can today, going into the final 4 races later on this week. Welcome to NASCAR, indeed. Derek Booth, welcome to the stream as well. Again, we will be live streaming the Darlington Cup race following the finish of this one at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll start that live stream. You'll definitely not want to miss the beginning of it, especially as we go through all the predictions and final fantasy advice for today's race. We're going to wait until then to discuss more about the Darlington race as we have some business to get through right now. Can't tell who that is in second place behind Greg Biffle, but Biffle's led the first 3 laps so far. And it's a 2-car breakaway right now at the front of the field already in this one. The drivers who started in those first couple rows kind of fading back, excluding the pole sitter Biffle. Thank you for that comment, Michael. Biffle getting a little bit faster by the lap, it seems like, in the early going. 21.6 flat that last lap. .21.462 jumped way up the board. I was going to say he ran a 21.4 in qualifying. It was a big jump up on lap 5. Biffle's dominated some races on this Busch Series season, looking to dominate another today as we are later in the year, trying to get the momentum back again after a 21st place finish at Texas last night. He caught up in an accident early on, made an unscheduled stop, and unfortunately caution came out trapping him a lap down. He came back to finish on the lead lap in 21st. Got back as high in the running order as about 15th, but he faded late after taking fuel only on the last green flag stop of the day with about 15 laps to go. Cycled up to 15th and just trying to hang on for dear life on those extremely old tires. Needs to stay out of trouble today, and the best way to do that is to be out in front of the action and try to pull away. Hence the good qualifying effort. And obviously a really fast race car in the very beginning of this one as well, as he's got just over a 1 second lead already, just 9 laps into the race, 1.1 seconds into turn 1 on lap 9. This could be a big day on the channel. We have a chance to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the Darlington Cup race this afternoon, so again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, definitely do so. could witness history on the channel today with our doubleheader. I think we have a shot. I definitely think we're going to get close. And if we don't get there today, we'll definitely be there by next week's live commentary, I would have to assume, because I'll be doing 2 races next weekend for live commentary. The truck race Saturday night at Kansas, as well as the Cup race on Sunday. Cody Ware wins this afternoon. I doubt it. I'd be lucky to finish the race this afternoon, to be completely honest. Darlington's a very difficult racetrack. These cars have been very difficult early on in the season, it seems like, as far as the next-gen cars go for the Cup Series. We'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the races. We're in the early going right now. Biffle is growing an already early race lead. But we saw him lead quite a bit early yesterday at Texas, or last night at Texas, for those of you who watched. He led the first, or not the first 57 laps, but he did lead 57 laps in the race. And that first caution, lap 55, really put him off strategy, put him outside the window, and he was never able to come back since. He did lead laps late in the race because he stayed out of the pits about 7 laps longer than everybody else. Again, just trying to stay ahead of whatever carnage we may see in today's race. We've seen a lot of short tracks on this game in particular go caution free. So if this is one today, it's going to be interesting to see if this is going to be a 1 or a 2-stop race. They'd have to make it about 125 laps into the run for this to be a 1-stopper, and that's a long ways to go at Richmond on fuel. I don't know if it's going to be possible. Cup cars are about that window. I'd imagine the Busch cars might be a little less than that. So we'll see. Could be a fuel mileage race today. That's not something Biffle wants it to be, considering he clearly has the fastest car, at least in the early going and on the short runs. Going with Tyler Reddick to win at Darlington today. So I'm not going to talk about Reddick much on the pre-race, because I don't have him as the sleeper must-have or don't have this weekend, but I will say, I was like, okay, maybe Tyler Reddick. I feel like this is a track that suits his driving style, and he has not had good finishes there. I don't think he's finished in the top 10 yet in his Cup Series career at this racetrack. I don't buy it this weekend. He hasn't looked as strong the last few races compared to what he was at the very start of the year either. Especially in comparison to Austin Dillon, because Reddick's dropped below the cutoff line, and Austin Dillon has worked himself inside top 16. It's almost like roles are reversed this year with how Austin Dillon's ran in the last few races compared to Tyler Reddick. Except for last week at Dover, they were both off last week. But Reddick started the year hot, and then has kind of cooled off the last 3 or 4 races, and then the other way around, where Austin Dillon didn't start off the year very hot, but the last 3 or 4 races, except for the last week at Dover, he's been on. He's got 2 top 5s, Talladega, and where else did he have a top 5? He finished second at Talladega. I'm having a brain fart for a second. He finished top 5 somewhere else recently, too. Wasn't Dirt Bristol. Martinsville, I believe. Yeah, Martinsville, he had a top 5. That's right. Picking Byron or Elliott. Elliott's going to be tough. He has to start way at the back. Wrecking in practice and qualifying, that's not good. He doesn't have many laps under him. I think he ran 15 laps in practice before he crashed, and now he's going to be in a backup car, too, on top of it. On a track like this, he's got his work cut out for him. Him and Harvick both. Is there any word on Byron? Is he going to a backup car? I know he got in the wall at qualifying when I watched the second session yesterday on my lunch break at work. I have no clue if that was enough damage that they were able to repair or not. He just kind of grazed it, but he did get into the wall a little bit. I haven't seen anything on if he's going to a backup car and having to start at the rear or not. I'd assume they've probably gone through inspection already, so I'm not sure if he is. I feel like I would have heard if he was. It's like we may have had trouble on the back straightaway that last lap. A lot of smoke as Biffle races through it. But we continue to stay green. The less cautions, the better for Biffle. That would bunch the field back together again and make it a whole new race every time that would happen today if we do see any cautions. Haven't had one in the first 24 laps. That smoke's still there, now dissipating into the atmosphere. 9 people watching. Only 3 likes right now. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Mention to subscribe because we're getting close to 2,000 subs. I think we have a chance to get there today with the live streams we're going to have on hand. Elliott going to... Well, I know Elliott's going to the back. I mean, Byron. Sorry if I said Elliott. Elliott wrecked hard in practice. That car was not repairable. I saw a replay of it when I got home from work. See what exactly happened. I heard a left rear went down, and then same with Harvick. I did not see his wreck, though, but same thing where they both had left rear tires go down. I don't think that was so much a factor on Goodyear. I think they just kind of ran too low of an air pressure, and that's what costed them. According to Mike Joy and everybody in the Fox booth during qualifying yesterday, they're supposed to run 22 pounds per square inch in the tires. That is recommended lowest. So anything below that's definitely pushing the boundaries. And we know that these teams tend to do that quite a bit. There's less air pressure, is more grip. But you definitely run that risk of something like that happening yesterday. And now they're starting at the back of their track. That's very difficult to not only, you know, drive around, but even more difficult to pass. It's so hard just to race the racetrack at Darlington when you're having to race other cars starting that far back in the field. Only makes it harder. It's amazing how quickly Greg Biffle's already pulled this lead out to 3.9 seconds in just 29 laps, as he's multiple tenths of a second quicker a lap, and seems to just be getting quicker and quicker on the longer run. Lap time wise, he still hasn't ran anything close to that 21.462 until that last lap where he had a 21.465. Closest he's been to his fastest lap of the race since he ran his fastest lap back on lap 4. Santiago Kid, welcome to the stream. 21.48. Biffle's having such a low exit to these corners because he has so much grip that he's able to do so. This car is perfectly balanced, and at least as the early run goes, I doubt he's going to be making any adjustment changes during the first pit stop of the day when the time comes. Biffle did lead wire-to-wire on another short track earlier this season at Dover when he won both races there, but he did win the first race, leading all 200 laps from the pole. Second race, he had his work cut out for him, won about 80 laps. Had to come from pretty deep in the field after an untimely caution in that one as well, and then breeding cautions on the restart put him off strategy, and he's able to at least come back and battle Busch for the lead late and get around him with a few laps to go. Almost ran out of time in that one, but luckily was able to get back into it. There was 5 cautions in that race that definitely helped him get back into it. Reagan Fan 6, welcome to the stream. Biffle over driving 1 and 2 a little bit, got down to the apron and pushed a bit wider off turn 2 that time. Biffle's closing in on lap traffic as well. That could definitely slow these lap times down. And he's going to have to be careful because it's going to be the first time he's been in traffic all day today. He's had a lot of clean air to work with right now. Not only the dirty air could affect the race car in traffic, but also you don't want to get caught up in an accident, especially when you have a decent-sized lead in the early going of the race and a clean race car on top of it. Saw some smoke on the backstretch a little while ago that they've definitely been pretty racy back here. Sure Biffle doesn't want to get in the way of that too much. Yeah, 4 seconds and 30 laps. And then the next 6 laps after that, he's pulled away almost another full second ahead of second place. Not even counting the rest of the field. It's going to be a few nights before the next Busch Series race on the channel. And the next NASCAR 05 race in general on the channel. as tomorrow night we'll be streaming NASCAR 21 Ignition again on the channel for our final season there. Pocono doubleheader. So doubleheader today, another one tomorrow night. Starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll run the first Pocono race and then the second one after the finish of that one. So we've got over 600 miles of racing at Pocono, Lord help me, tomorrow night on the channel. But definitely want to tune in for both of those. I think we could have some good races. Given the game and the state of the game, I'm going to think positively. It'll definitely go a lot smoother than Nashville, I'd have to assume, that we ran last week. Biffle in lap traffic for the first time. Just hoping these guys are going to give him room. So far, so good through the first lap of the lap traffic, getting around 3 cars and now a 4th at the start-finish line that time. And the more cars he puts a lap down as well before a caution, automatically pretty much going to take those guys out of the race with no free pass position awarded to the first car lap down in the Busch Series in this game. Only the Truck Series in this game has that rule in effect. I see Kevin Harvick towards the back of the field right now in the number 21 Chevrolet. Reese's paint scheme on the 21 car of Harvick all Busch Series season long. So one of the Cup guys running at the back right now. He must not have qualified too well, but he has definitely not worked his way through traffic very well either in the early going. Oh, man, a lot of contact. Well, not a lot of contact, but that 56 car definitely pinched Biffle down. Biffle's already below the apron, and he still came down on the racetrack right on top of Biffle to try and hold on to his lead lap positioning. He's also battling J.J. Yaley for a spot. Yaley, a couple wins this season. Running at the back right now himself. Not looking great early. And he's stuck on the outside of the 56 car. Biffle's going to get underneath him, trying to put Yaley a lap down now. Biffle going to go 3 wide. And Ray Westbury, and then the 56 car as well. Wow, that 3 wide battle was very close off turn 2. Biffle clears the 56. Puts a lot of pressure on him trying to get back on the lead lap, but he's still got to get around Westbury in the 121 car as well. Finally figure out how to get rid of the pots. I don't know. I mean, we didn't have any last night. It's just random. Like, we went a couple months in a row before getting any, and then, what, 2 nights ago we had like 5 of them? Let's just not mention them in the chat tonight. Maybe they'll stay away. Especially with the big stream coming up next. There's Kevin Harvick in the 21 car, about to go a lap down. The hands of Greg Biffle, a fellow Cup Series regular in the 2004 season. So Harvick is a lap down, and his chances of winning are now slim to none already, unless he can get back on the lead lap around Biffle. But even through lap traffic, Biffle's still growing that lead out, about 6 seconds ahead. Put David Stremming, the 32 car, lap down. Billy Parker's the last car in the lead lap in the 86 car in front of Biffle, as well as Tim Fedewa and Mandy Brown in the 12 and 83 cars. 37, David Green also running middle to the back of the pack. Parker running really low in the tri-oval, trying to block Biffle. Biffle's going low himself, gets into the 83. Parker just launched himself into turn 3, and he still got around about 3 cars, and now Fedewa's going to cross him over off the exit of turn 4. Biffle underneath Parker off turn 2. Hermie Sadler in the 0-2 stuck on the outside as well. Biffle underneath him on the front stretch. Drive underneath Fedewa in the 12. And Fedewa going to go a lap down as Biffle clears him off of turn 2. And Fedewa got into the wall a bit. Got pinched by Biffle. Biffle never made contact with him. Parker will get back around the 12. So again, doing a doubleheader today on the channel with NASCAR 5 First. It is throwback weekend in the NASCAR atmosphere and in the NASCAR world. So running a throwback NASCAR video game for the next race of our Busch Series scheduled today. And then following that, we will be doing live commentary of today's Cup race at Darlington at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're tuning in wondering when that's going to start, if I'm doing it this weekend, yes I am. As I am home this weekend, not at the racetrack. We'll also have the next couple Cup races as well over the next few weeks. Including the All-Star race as well. And also doing commentary for the truck race next weekend at Kansas too. So you can tune in on the channel for that. It'll be the first Truck Series race I'll be doing live commentary for this season. Bradford in the 152 car going to go a lap down. Tiny Buchanan in the 113. He's now the last car in the lead lap. Biffle dives underneath him into turn 3. Biffle's still got a lot of grip in this race car. I notice he hasn't pulled quite as far away since getting into lap traffic. All those lap cars he's working around, though, the other drivers from second on back are also trying to run down. So their lap times are gradually going to get a bit slower as well. Biffle has not hit halfway on fuel yet. Lap 57. Keep an eye on that. If he can get to about lap 63, he may be able to make this race on just one pit stop. Anything shy of that before he goes halfway on fuel, it's going to be difficult to make it a one-stopper. May need a caution or two to make it, though he does not want to see a caution the way things are going right now. Because it looks like his race to lose this afternoon. To the inside of the 22 car of Jason Keller. Terry Cook in the 10. Last car in the lead lap trying to block Biffle and hold on to his lead lap positioning. Biffle going to try to round out turns 1 and 2 and go a little bit wider than Cook. Cook got a pretty good drive off though. He tries to maintain his track position, hoping for a caution sometime quick before he loses his lap on Biffle. Biffle stayed low off the exit of turn 4. Cook is trying to crowd him with a big block. So they go off into turn 1. Biffle going to try to widen his arc out. It's going to give him a good exit to turn 2 now on Terry Cook. But Cook is definitely holding Biffle up right now. Biffle being patient. He doesn't want to race overly aggressive on the 10 car. Doesn't want to put the bumper to him at all. It looks like Biffle will finally get underneath Cook off turn 4. Biffle is just constantly beating Cook on drive off. So lap 61, Biffle hits halfway on fuel. That is very, very close to being able to make it a one stop. I think they're going to be a little bit shy of a one stop race today. So likely looking at a 2-stop race this afternoon at Richmond. It's not the Richmond you see now. Not a lot of tire wear compared to now on this track, so definitely not going to see any drivers short pit too far in advance. Though it is a short track, so in general tires are going to matter even in a relatively fresher paved racetrack like this one in 2004 at the Richmond Raceway. Probably looking at 8 to 10 laps short on fuel to the end of the race if Biffle was to go on one stop. It's a lot of gas to try and save. Just a little too risky, especially when you're still early enough in this one. Over 180 laps to go. We'll say the race is going by pretty quick considering get almost 3 laps in a minute at this racetrack, and we haven't had a caution to slow the race pace down so far. We saw on the last short track we raced at Dover a few races ago, though, the cautions breed cautions. Went about 82 laps before we saw the first one, and then we saw 3 in a row. Ended up with 5 by the end of the race. Loose getting into turn 1 that time for Biffle. Really the first time the car's felt remotely unstable by himself, as he has no traffic around him for the time being. Both pressure from behind and then potential dirty air in front of him. Might be able to go back to putting more time in between first and second place right now. We did not see Ron Hornaday, where he might have been, at least at the start of the race. He is still in the lead lap, as we've not seen him yet since Biffle has approached lap cars at the back of the field right around lap 40. Probably passed about half the field and put half the field a lap down so far. Kyle Busch up in the mix up ahead. Kenny Wallace, Mike Bliss. Contact between Busch and Wallace off of turn 2. Kenny Wallace got squeezed into the outside wall as well. And Atwood and Bliss had to check up behind him, gave Biffle a big run as he gets to the inside of Bliss now on the front stretch. And Busch is now shuffled to the outside of Atwood, who will get around him for position, and Biffle may put Kyle Busch a lap down. Busch will be a rookie in our NASCAR 06 Cup Series season. Biffle might have overdrove the entry to turn 3 a little bit. Got a bit loose. He's still underneath the 5. He'll put Kyle Busch a lap down. I just feel like he's going to have to back up the corner entry a little bit more as this car continues to get a little bit looser into the run. The tires are getting older. Fur Express, welcome to the stream. Biffle right in line behind Casey Atwood in the 14 car. Will pull out of line to make the pass into turn 3 and put Atwood a lap down in the Navy number 14 car. Biffle clears him off turn 4. "16 people watching right now, only 6 likes. Definitely smash the like button, subscribe. Again, for more daily NASCAR content. May get to 2,000 subs today on the channel, as we'll be doing live commentary for the Darlington race. The Goodyear 400 throwback race for the Cup Series this afternoon, following the finish of this EA Sports race today. Get you prepped and ready to go with a pre-race prediction show starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when we do the live race commentary live stream. Denny's good at Darlington. Yes, he is. I definitely think he could be one to beat today. He showed last week he had the speed, even though he hasn't had a great season this year. Toyotas in general had speed last week, and they seem to have speed again this week, based off of practice and qualifying times at least. In fact, I think manufacturer-wise, Toyota may be the ones to beat today. Based off of overall practice and qualifying times, at least with the top echelon of the Joe Gibbs drivers and their success that they've had at Darlington in the past. This car's definitely getting light. Corner entry. Still driving off pretty well, but trying to turn in, it's almost turning too easy. I was wondering if Biffle was going to make an adjustment change. I said that at least the way the car was driving in the beginning, was probably thinking of not doing it. May consider tightening the car up just a little bit, because it is getting a little bit edgier as the tires get older. Even though he has about a 9.5 second lead, you guys might be thinking, don't touch it. You also don't want the other drivers to make adjustments, and then if we get a caution to bunch things back up, then Biffle doesn't have the car compared to the rest of the field if we do get another bunch up. I say another considering the start of the race. One or two drivers were able to hang on behind Biffle for about 9 laps, and Biffle drove away. Wait, Solinsky, welcome to the stream. No problem. Early afternoon live stream today. Not usual. Sundays we tend to live stream during the day, whether it's the Cup race live commentary or, you know, the video game side. It's because that's the only day off of work I have on a weekend. Johnny Sauter had a good run at Texas yesterday before blowing an engine and finishing outside the top 40. Maybe up towards the front of the field right now, so looking for a bounce-back performance today, and so far so good for Sauter. Biffle is closed in. Sauter leaving a lot of bottom open through 3 and 4, allowing Biffle to get to the inside off the exit of the corner. Saya Z, welcome to the stream. Race is going pretty easy. 82 laps in, caution-free so far. Greg Biffle has led every lap from the pole and currently has just over a 10-second lead, as he has now lapped Johnny Sauter in the 27 car off of turn 2. And we have not gotten to our first stop yet. It's looking like a 2-pit stop race today. Very close to being a one-stopper, but Biffle's pacing to be about 5 laps short. 4 to 5 laps short to halfway to make it a one-stopper. Now that right front tire's into the yellow on the tire wear indicator that you just saw in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And you'll continue to see it as more of the tires start to wear out over the course of this long green flag run to start things off today. We saw at Dover the similar thing happening where Biffle was dominating early and then we had one caution throw everything off, and we'll see. And I wonder if we do get a caution in this first run, if drivers will stay out thinking that, okay, we got the yellow, maybe now I can make it to halfway. We get a caution in the second half of the race, I can make it on one stop. Because that definitely could be possible. But as the field gets about as spaced out now as it will be the rest of the race, it may become a little bit harder. Definitely don't want a short pit if you can help it at Richmond, because if we get a caution, you're going to go 1 to 2 laps down with this being a short track. Decent length pit road. At a slow pit road speed. Speed limit on entry is 70 miles an hour at every track in this game, but the actual speed limit once you get to pit road, I believe, is 35 at Richmond. 35 or 40. So it is a slow speed once you get there. Of course, this is 2004, so it could differentiate compared to what it is now. We'll alternate through the different camera angles again. Relatively clean race car right now for Greg Biffle as he stayed out of trouble as well. And has a lot of clean air around it for the time being again also. Which is always good when you're fighting for a championship. Bottom left-hand corner of the screen, those are the points between the top 2 and really the only 2 contending for the championship late in the season. 4 races to go and the checkered flag flies this afternoon, and currently Biffle holds a 185-point lead over Hornaday. Hornaday has had 7th and 5th place finish in the last 2 races at Talladega, Texas. Biffle 10th and 21st, as Biffle had a 247-point lead on Hornaday just 2 races ago. And being beat by Hornaday in each of the last 2 races has allowed the 2 car to close in just a bit. And at least we know Hornaday's on the lead lap right now, so we know he's running well so far today, considering Biffle's lapped a lot of cars. But Biffle is looking as if he is definitely the one to beat and could go on to lead the most laps, as he's already led the first 90 off of turn 4 this time. Quarter tank of gas left at lap 92 for Biffle. Who knows, maybe we do see some drivers short pit. If you're already a lap down, I guess it wouldn't really hurt. There's only 2 drivers really racing for the championship right now anyway. The next closest is Kyle Busch, 3rd in points, but he's 497 points back coming into this race, and he's already a lap down too. not off to a good start today. So Mark Tavares keeps throwing up timestamps based off of how many seconds we've been able to pull away and how many laps in this race. You can definitely see the 60 car wiggling quite a bit. That's 2 turns in a row going into turn 1 where the cars felt a bit uneasy. Turn 3 in the middle of the corner, getting a bit loose again that time, waiting to power back onto the throttle. Car feels a lot lighter than what it once did as the air pressures continue to build up over this long green flag run to start this race off. No cautions yet as we're going to be through 95 laps off turn 4 this time. You can almost see how it's pointed to the inside on corner entry. It seems like he's struggling more with turn 1 than turn 3. It's a wider sweeping corner compared to turn 3. As you have a flat and straight back straightaway where you have a little bit banking in the tri-oval, and it's also curved. It's a lot wider as it is as well as it's curved. So you can carry more speed into turn 1 than turn 3. Turn 3 you have to start braking a lot earlier because it's a flat, very tight angle going into the corner. You have to use more brakes. And you're at a higher speed going into that corner as well because of how much momentum you can carry through 1 and 2. And I think that's why Biffle's car is getting upset at that end of the track versus turn 3. Wiggles underneath the 86 of Kirkland, who I believe will be the first car to go 2 laps down in this race. Don't get me wrong, Biffle's still fast. Even with the car on the edge. But I'm telling you guys, it's uncomfortable. It's not going to be as uncomfortable as what Texas was at the end of the race last night for those of you that watched. When I tried to go the last 87 laps on those tires. Pity for fuel only on the last stop. All 4 tires were in the red at the very end of that race on the tire indicator. I don't think I've ever had that on this game. I tried to avoid that. And about wrecked a few times those last 2 laps. Dropped back about 6 positions at the end of the race, which was definitely costly in the point standings, but at least he made it home without wrecking. If he would have DNF'd there, he would have finished 40th, so he could have lost 19 more spots. Should have been huge, and Hornaday could have been within 100 points. Still just over 1 race worth of points back. You could score up to 156 points, or outscore a driver by up to 156 points. So that would be the full race worth that Hornaday needs to be within going into the season finale at California later on this week. If we get to California, obviously, it's going to depend on if I clinch the championship before that or not. .6 second lead that time. Not easier for Biffle through 1 and 2. It felt like the car really gripped up well that time compared to laps prior. Wiggles a bit, gets around Jimmy Hill in the 116. Craig Miller, Cody Holt, next 2 cars in front of him. Holt was one of the cars that was harder to pass the first go-around for Biffle, so we'll see how much of a challenge it'll be this go-around as Holt's already 1 lap down, about to go 2 down. Looks like he'll give Biffle plenty of room through 3 and 4, staying behind Miller in the 168 car on the outside. Over 100 laps caution-free so far. We're 20 laps shy of the halfway mark today. And we'll have that trivia question for you guys following the first set of pit stops in this race, which will be starting very soon as well. Shake up the running order a bit as Biffle's got a 12.2 second lead and growing. It's over half a track ahead of second place right now. And it seems like we have our first takers onto pit road this time by. You have to make sure not to get in an accident here if you're Greg Biffle. His teammate Mark Martin's going to be into pit, so He was one of the last cars on the lead lap. Mix of lap cars and lead lap cars pitting right now. Biffle's still got to stay out as long as he can. He's got a big lead to give up. He does lose a little bit of time. Really just does not want to risk going a lap down. Now the left front's of the yellow as well. Second place might have just pit that time. I think that's why the lead grew a couple seconds in about a lap. I believe whoever was just in second place moments ago is pit, as well as most of the leaders. Have to be careful for cars making their way off of pit road at the end of the back stretch, trying to merge into traffic as cars are still trying to make their way in on corner entry into turn 3. Biffle had a big wiggle in 1 and 2, had to catch the car to the outside, and graces the wall for the first time today into turn 3 as well. So definitely losing ground on the outside lane. Terry Cook underneath him now, and again Biffle bounces into the wall as he's struggling on the outside. Contact with Cook and can't get off of him. Just can't get down to the bottom. The 106 car is on the inside, shoots the gap into turn 1, and Biffle will cross him over down to the bottom as the 106 of Ollie Renshaw tries to get up to speed. Not sure if the 108 car, the 10 in front of Biffle right now, have pit. We know the 20 has. He just cycled off a couple laps ago, as well as the 106 behind Biffle. Biffle to the inside of Mike Bliss. Kevin Harvick down on the bottom of the racetrack. Oh, Harvick nearly wipes out the leader going into turn 3. Oh my goodness. Big save from Greg Biffle. Kevin Harvick just barreled it into turn 3. Biffle was already in front of him, and he just ran right through him. And that nearly brought out a caution. Harvick stuck on the outside of Jason Keller, who was on the bottom trying to get up to speed as well. Biffle just trying to survive. It's the last car in the lead lap that still has to pit. He's hoping for a caution. He's just hoping it's not him. That could work against him. You can see the damage on the left rear corner panel after Harvick had gotten into him. Biffle's going to pit at lap 120. Will be the game plan. Lap car on pit road right now. A few more lap cars on pit road. So Biffle, 2-lap lead on the field right now because he still has not made his first stop of the day. And if we can get a caution before that, that would trap the field a couple laps down. That'd be huge for Biffle. I'd almost guarantee him a win. And he had a little bit over a 12-second lead before the green flag pit stop started, so definitely wouldn't be bad strategy. He's going to lose time on these older tires, but I don't think he's... I think he'll still have a somewhat comfortable lead when he cycles off pit road. We know the 60 car is fast. Michael Turner, happy race day to you too. Thanks for watching the stream. Will stay out this time by, and that'll pit at lap 120. And happy Mother's Day as well. Biffle will pit this time. 4 tires and fuel. Doesn't want to speed. He is in. And a little bit of adjustment's going to be made here. Half a round of wedge going into the race car. Going to add a pound of air pressure as well. So a couple adjustments during the first stop of the day for Greg Biffle. One more to the end after this. Patrick Chatterley, welcome to the stream. Down on the bottom of the racetrack, getting up to speed. Cycles out in front of the couple cars who were closing in behind him to give him enough room. So Biffle did lose a few seconds. He was about 12.2 seconds ahead, and as he gets up to speed, he's about 8.8, 8.7 seconds roughly ahead of second place now, so about 4.5 seconds gained, give or take, for second place during the first set of green flag pit stops. So that's also, again, because Biffle stayed out about 10 to 15 laps longer than everybody else on fuel. Still a one-stopper to the end, though, for everybody. And as the window opens, I'm sure we'll see some drivers pit. So we're still caution-free in this one, just a few laps shy of halfway. At least with the quick race pace and no cautions right now, we are pacing to get this race done before 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as planned, before we go live for the live race commentary of the Darlington Cup race this afternoon. We are halfway at the line. That's the cue for tonight's trivia question. Give you guys to lap 135 down in the chat to answer tonight's trivia question. Who is the... Well, I should say there is only one driver who has won at Darlington from the pole since 1997's fall race. Who is that only driver? Let me know down in the comment section below. So this is Cup Series related. Who is the only driver since the fall of 1997 to qualify on the pole and win at Darlington? Name that driver. And you guys have until lap 135 to get the answer correct, or I will give it for you. See if anybody can get it. It is not Jeff Gordon. Had a couple of front row starts go to victory lane since then, but only one from the pole. Jeff Gordon, not the one from the pole. Two trivia questions today. You get this one in this stream, then you get another one in the next stream. Double trivia for the double header. I say double header. Yeah, what would that entail? Like 3 streams in a row, or that entail like 4 streams? It's a double header. I guess it's kind of a double header considering we're going to have one on the channel tomorrow as well. Not Danica Patrick, J.O. Welcome to the stream, though. Billy Kramer actually got tonight's question correct. Kevin Harvick in 2014 is the only driver to qualify on the pole and win a Darlington Cup race since the fall race of 1997. Interesting fact, the second time, or the second most recent time that has happened, would have been the spring race in 1997 when Dale Jarrett won from the pole. So Kevin Harvick is the answer to tonight's trivia question. Billy Kramer gets that right with a few laps yet to spare. Again, we'll have another trivia question during the live commentary live stream later on today. that will be Darlington related. Although Biffle's had a pretty comfortable lead this entire race and has led every lap so far, all it takes is one caution to bunch the field back together again, and they are within the window to be able to make it on fuel to the end of the race right now. Nobody wants to short pit yet. They're just pitting not that long ago. About 20 to 30 laps ago is when most of these drivers have pit. They first started green flag pit stops at about lap 106. So some of those first guys that pit may be the ones to short pit the first time, and we'll see when they'll do it. And hopefully the adjustment changes for Biffle that he made during that first stop are going to help him on the long run. They put a half a round of wedge into the car to try to help tighten it up a bit on the longer runs, as well as a pound of air pressure. Though they probably went the wrong way with the air pressure now I'm thinking about it. I don't know why I put a pound in. I feel like that's going to counteract the wedge adjustment I just made. Because the air pressure is going to build up just a bit quicker. I meant to drop it 1 pound to 22 PSI. It was at 23. Now it's at 24. I just came to that conclusion that I did that. I did not mean to do that. But hopefully that does not hurt the 60. Short run is definitely not affecting him, but we'll see on the long run, and maybe that will bring the 60 onto pit road a bit quicker if that happened on the long run. A couple cars on pit road right now trying to short pit. Probably the drivers that pitted a little over 30 laps ago. Taking fresher tires and will make their final stop of the race. Just hoping that it stays green to the end. Welcome back, Furfur Express. Terry Cook on the bottom of the track, Biffle on the outside. Couldn't get around the 10 car. It was getting up to speed on the bottom of the track after he exited the pit lane. Do I get called Keegs a lot? No, I do not. I've never really had a nickname. I can remember an assistant coach calling me Schneids when I played football, youth, and through middle school, but that was about it. Which I always thought that was a cool nickname, but it never carried outside of like football practice and football games and stuff. It only stayed right there. It never carried on to any other sport I played. Never carried into the classroom or anything like that. It kind of stayed right there. He was pretty much the only one that called me that too. So. Yeah, nobody calls me Keegs. Trying to get around J.J. Yaley and Terry Cook right now. Cook on those fresher tires after just cycling off of pit road. Little contact to Yaley's left rear from Biffle that time. Well, Morris Jordan, welcome to the stream. Oh man, Biffle over. Drove turn one trying to get around Yaley. Yaley trying to get back down to the bottom right now. Biffle going to get around him. Yaley gets into the left rear. Biffle trying to move him. For Biffle through a block, and Yaley will remain, I believe, 2 laps down now after losing that lap. The NASCAR community is going to hate you if you keep donating. Donating what? What are you talking about? NASCAR community is going to hate you if you keep donating. donating good content to the channel. I have no clue what you mean by that. As far as the throwback schemes that are like this year, I think personally my favorite, most people's favorite, I would have to say is the Trackhouse Racing #1 car specifically. Both of them are really good, but that #1 car is probably my favorite paint scheme this year. Men dominating every race. I just finished 21st at Texas last night. I don't dominate every race. Races like this, where I'm like legitimately dominating, this actually doesn't happen too much. I'm just kind of blowing everybody out of the water. That usually doesn't happen a lot. Not as much as it did on, say, NASCAR Heat 4 or Heat 5 at least. I had those games down to a T. NASCAR, these EA Sports games, like I'll dominate the season. At least as you look at the standings, 185-point lead right now. And I have a lot of wins, but there's just not a lot of consistency to give me a higher points margin between first and second. Said dominating, my bad. I didn't realize he said dominating. I thought he said donating. Oh, you did? Dang, yeah. I finished 21st. I finished 10th at Dega the night before, too, so I haven't finished inside 10th place in the last 2 races. And I only led 8 laps at Talladega. I did lead the second most laps yesterday. I led 57 at Texas. Dale Jr. led over 100 laps, won the race. Junior's actually won back-to-back races coming into this one. I think he's in the field today to try and go for 3 in a row. I just haven't seen him at all yet, whether he's on the lead lap or not, or if he's a lap down or not. Race day starting. Our race day coverage begins at 3. Try to lap the field? I'll try. Gonna need it to stay caution-free if I'm gonna do that, though. Everybody still has to make one more pit stop yet in this race. Biffle's got about a 14.2 second lead. Still his fastest lap of the race was set all the way back at lap 4. 21.462. That's held up ever since. It's gonna be tough to break that in traffic. I will say, though, the races that, you know, maybe I'm battling for the win, if I do win quite often throughout the course of the season, are probably a little more entertaining for you guys from the full race live commentary side of things. If you're commentating the battle for the lead and the battle for the win late versus the battle for 21st last night at Texas, it can be entertaining in its own right. You're not going to be on the edge of your seat as much. Busch going to cross over Greg Biffle. Biffle going to try to cross him back over off of turn 4 to get back to the inside of the 5. Well, I believe is back on the lead lap. I don't think he's about to go a second lap down. I could be wrong about that. I'm thinking he pitted early enough and was able to cycle ahead of Biffle to get back on the lead lap. Now he's lost his lap again. Either way, Busch is not on the lead lap. We have 92 laps to go at Richmond. Pick to win is either Hamlin or Bell. JGR to shine. I think I'd be more solidified in Hamlin being a pick to win today for myself, but he starts too far back. It's so hard to pass. I feel like there's going to be a lot of cautions today, too. Yeah, left turns, woohoo. Look, we got another one right here. Give about another 8 to 9 seconds. We'll have another one. Rich Strike won the Kentucky Derby yesterday. Yeah, I did not watch it. I meant to actually watch it when I got home. Because I was like, oh yeah, the Kentucky Derby's on today when I was driving home from work. I was going to get home probably half hour before the main race started. And I just forgot about it. Three wide into turn one. Kind of funnel out, mainly single file, if not side by side, off the exit of turn two. Nikki Brown, welcome to the stream. Have this game, NASCAR 05. Definitely a classic. Figured I'd do a race today on the channel, even with doing the live commentary race later, being it is throwback race weekend. Play a throwback NASCAR game. And we're at crunch time on the season as well. So trying to make sure he's going to clear the 25 car into turn one. Almost overdrove turn one a bit. Got a little loose. Wanted to make some adjustments. I don't think they really helped much. Counterbalance the adjustment changes as the run carries on. Hopefully it doesn't get too loose, or looser than what it was at the end of the run on that first run compared to the second one right now. Some drivers have already pitted to the end of the race, but those guys are going to be at least one, if not two laps down. Oh, Hamlin starts at the rear. I know he qualified 22nd, so they probably made some adjustments to try and help it. He was fast in practice yesterday. It's been a rough season for Hamlin this year. About 4 or 5 seconds ahead of Biffle would be the second place driver right now. If he can lap the field and then get a caution, that's going to take anybody really out of a shot of winning. They'd have to unlap themselves the old-fashioned way. 3 wide right now in turns 1 and 2. Biffle trying to get around Tim Fedewa. Fedewa barely cleared the 86 car of Shane Kirkland, who's already a couple laps down on the outside. Biffle cleared both of them on the bottom. Tire issues during practice yesterday, just 2 of them. And they were probably running too low of an air pressure, so I don't think it's going to be a... I mean, if it is a big factor today, we'll see. I think teams have pretty much gotten the memo after seeing those 2 practice crashes to make sure the tire air pressure is up. I mean, with stage racing, you know that you could short pit. You don't have to go as far. See, before stage racing, you didn't know how far you could go, especially on a track like this. Like, okay, how far do we want to risk it? Because you don't want to short pit too much and risk going a lap down if caution comes out. So you basically stayed out as long as you could until you had to pit. Tire coming apart or whatever the case was. But now, because of the stage racing, we're not racing all the way to lap 293 or 292 for today's, I think 293 laps is the scheduled distance today. We're not racing to lap 293 from lap 1. We're racing to the end of stage 1 first, and then the end of stage 2. Then we race to that last mark, but by that point, the race is split into thirds, and you make it on 1 or 2 stops each stage. Parker Tar Heels, welcome to the stream as well. 12 likes on the stream right now, 16 viewers watching. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Again, first race of a doubleheader today. Live commentary for the NASCAR Cup race coming up after this one. And that will be at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Do live commentary for any race I don't go to in person for the most part on a NASCAR race weekend. And doing it again this weekend at Darlington as well. Next week at Kansas and the Texas All-Star race for the Cup Series after that. Also doing the Truck Series commentary next Saturday night at Kansas as well. So a couple of live commentary live streams next week. Will be our first truck race commentary stream of the year. I've done one Xfinity race at Martinsville. David Green overdrove turn 3 pretty flat. Now he shuffled back onto the outside. He's trying desperately to get one lap back. So he's fallen 2 down now after Biffle passed him that last lap. Finally get to my commentary. You talk about for the actual race later? I'm glad you'll be able to watch the race with me. Oh, here we go again. We had a good run going without these bots. I don't understand, man. I do not understand where these bots come from. We're going to act like that never showed up, because I feel like once we see one, we see a lot more. We didn't have any last night, and we went a couple months in a row before we saw some, what was it, 2 nights ago when I was racing at Talladega? We do not need that. We're almost done with this race. One car blowing up on the bottom of the racetrack right now. 117 car. Blew an engine late in the race. Down in the chat, try to report the bot as well if you can, whether you're a mod or not. If you have the capability to report them, make sure to report them. And report them, give like the feedback of what, you know, they are botting. If that makes sense. I don't know if botting is a word. I think what would the definition of that be? The process of being a bot? $70 laps to go this time by. Still caution free in tonight's Funai 250, or today's Funai 250 at Richmond. 17.3 second lead for Greg Biffle right now, and he has led all 181 laps so far. So he's obviously already clinched the most laps led, and will get a 10 bonus point performance, looking for a max point stay on top of it. And if he can keep everybody else from getting 5 bonus points, especially Ron Hornaday, who is battling for the championship, that could be big as well. Hornaday still in the lead lap. We have not seen him yet, and only one driver is blowing an engine. That was the 117 car a few laps ago. Bots are like imposters on Among Us. Question is, who is the bot? I don't know if the bot is actually a person. Biffle just ran his fastest lap of the race that last time by. It was a 21.441, and actually it was a couple laps ago because he had a 21.444 that last lap. But 2 laps ago was his fastest lap of the race. I was wondering if he was going to be able to actually run it, because lap 4 was still his fastest lap up until then. Just killed the bot. Paul Menard and Ron Hornaday. The last 2 cars on the lead lap right now. Ashton Lewis also on the lead lap in front of the 2 of Hornaday. Never been pulled over for speeding. That would be a lie. I have gotten pulled over once for speeding when I think it was when I was either 16 or 17. It was only a few months into having a license. And because I was a minor, and in the state of Ohio, if you're a minor, you have to go to court. Even though I was only going 68 to 55, I still had to go to court. So that was a whole thing. What is this, man? This is just a weird... That's a new one. I swear, man, I hate the bots. It's not like, it's weird because some of it is sexual, so it makes it even worse. But it's not always the case either. It's just like random stuff. Like sometimes it'll just be like they'll just be spamming random stuff. Well, kind of like this, but my God. Always something. A second time in 18 laps. And no place for that on this channel. Messing up my rhythm because I keep having to pause it. I don't like pausing the game. I don't like bots either, though. Looks like Ron Hornaday is going to go lap down at the hands of Greg Biffle in turns 1 and 2. And Hornaday is now a lap down. So if we do get a caution, Hornaday is going to be trapped a lap down. Biffle riding in line behind Ashton Lewis in the 46 cars. Lewis now is the last car on the lead lap. Biffle underneath him off turn 4. Biffle drove it in pretty hard and pretty flat. Through turns 3 and 4, got to hold the inside lane. Left side tires right on that yellow line, as he pretty much has most of the night. I will say on the longer run, at least for right now, the car doesn't seem as unstable as what it was earlier, but it's definitely a little loose. Still, he won't have to make an adjustment on the final stop because he won't have too many more laps left, and he's been really solid on the short run with handling. Whenever that pit stop ends up coming into play. At least as long as the caution doesn't come out anytime soon, giving us maybe a longer green flag run to the end of the race as far as fuel and tires go. $17 likes on the stream right now. Again, thanks for everybody hitting that like button. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Live commentary for the Darlington Cup race coming up later today. We're 56 laps away from the finish. The first race of our doubleheader this afternoon. This quarter's racing through turns 1 and 2 as Biffle's trying to put more cars multiple laps down as he has an 18.5 second lead. And about 3 seconds ahead of him would be the second place race car. Not sure how many cars there are on the lead lap, but it can't be many. It's got to be cars lapped within the top 5. Even though Hornaday's a lap down now, I would not be surprised if he was still running about 4th or 5th. Looking for 3 straight top 7 finishes today, maybe back-to-back top 5s. Greg Biffle won 5 races in a row before finishing 10th and 21st in the last 2. So looking to get back to his winning ways. And a better way to do that than to just completely obliterate the field in the next race here today at Richmond. Closing in on lap 200. A lot of lap traffic coming up soon as well. A lot of hard racing going on up ahead. Donnie Hart is car in line in front of Biffle. I think he was one of the first cars to go lap down at the very beginning of the race. Way back around lap 40. Biffle first got into lap traffic. 200 laps complete, still caution-free. 50 laps away. We've had 5 Busch Series races go caution-free this season. Can we have a 6th here today? 4 of them have gone caution-free on the Cup side. Matt Kenseth in the 17 car up ahead. We know he's on the lead lap yet. Has to have a fast race car as well, considering his teammate has been dominating this race. Kenseth may be the second place car. No guarantees that that's the case, but he may be the second place car. He's got a lot of clean air in front of him. Trying to get underneath the 119 car. Oh, nearly cleans out the 112 right in front of Biffle. That was an aggressive move by the 119 going into turn 3. Kenseth able to pull away from the 60 a bit as Biffle had to back out of the gas just to keep it off the back of some of the lap cars that were in front of him making the contact. Not sure if anybody that was on the lead lap had also short pitted. It could potentially cycle back onto the lead lap when Biffle makes his final stop. That could be possible. Once those final pit stops end up coming up pretty soon, I would have to imagine we'll probably see some drivers make their final stop of the day. The 119 just continues to block Biffle, especially on the straightaways. Biffle gets a good run on him. And they're not racing clean with him. Oh, man, now 119 just cracked the inside wall. Biffle had to check up again behind him, but at least with the mistake, he's able to get underneath him off turn 4 without getting blocked. He's finally got to put the 119 car another lap down. I've never seen that, where he just drove it in so deep at Richmond that he hit the inside wall in turn 3. It's quite a bit of apron down there to do that. You got to get all 4 tires below that yellow line and on the apron to be able to do that, and sure enough, he did it. Buys Kenseth a little bit more time, though, to stay on the lead lap in case we get a caution. He's past the 113 car of Tiny Buchanan in the time being as well. Just a couple lights away right now from 20 on the stream. We'll see if we can get there with 41 laps to go. I didn't have the chat on until just now. I don't know why the chat was so delayed on my screen. R6, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I keep reporting the bots. I might have to pause it for a quick second again. I hate doing that, but I just want to call out anybody I might have missed over the last few minutes since reporting that last bot. Pause it when I get to the backstretch. Biffle's closing on Kenseth, just less than 40 to go. Sorry for that. Yeah, R6, welcome to the stream. I guess that's it. Okay, that's all I missed. Actually, no, Santiago Kid was in the chat earlier. My bad. Tank of gas left for Biffle. Actually, Dale Earnhardt Jr. might be on the lead lap still, because I don't remember Biffle actually getting to him yet. So Kenseth would be in third. Dale Jr.'s in second. So it's saying that he even has a shot still. This late in the race, if we get a yellow, to try and go for 3 in a row. Matt Kenseth going to go a lap down in turns 1 and 2. 2 cars now on the lead lap at Richmond with just 36 laps to go this time by. So we have been caution-free for over 200 laps to start this race. $145 and a 20. That would be jail time. Especially at a school zone. I don't even know how you would get to that speed, because usually the school zones are... I guess there are some schools out in the country, but I feel like most of them are in a somewhat populated area. Like a town or something. Ooh, contact off of turn 2. Biffle kind of chopped off the lap car he had just passed. Dale Earnhardt Jr. going to pit. Greg Biffle's still on the track, so Biffle a lap ahead of the field, but he still has to make his second stop. Dale Jr. pitted before Biffle got to him, and I would think that that's going to mean that Greg Biffle may not actually lap the field by the end of the race without a caution, because Jr. should be able to cycle back in front of the 60 when Biffle decides to pit. It's going to be a matter of when does Biffle pit next. So he goes right side tires only just to make sure he laps the field, which might actually, I mean, that would take away a caution ruining his race late. So it wouldn't be a bad decision. I overruled the judge. That would mean the vehicle. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that vehicle either. So there's a good chance Biffle's got to go right side tires only when he does end up making his final stop. Only have to go 10 laps to the end of the race. It'll save some time on pit road, and assuming Dale Jr. took 4 tires with a little over 30 to go when he pit, Biffle should cycle in front of him. So any possibility of seeing a caution before the end of the race would not give those guys a chance at a restart to get back around Biffle. Unless they unlap themselves and we get another quick yellow immediately following it. And in that case, then you'd have older left side tires and may be in trouble. And we got one car blowing up on the bottom of the track. It's Kyle Busch. Paul Menard checked up because of it. Biffle gets around him on the backstretch. It gets to the inside of Lance Brantley, who also checked up on the outside. So Kyle Busch has blown an engine. He's third in points coming in. I think he's ahead of Hamilton enough that he should still stay in third. He didn't have a shot at the championship, and he's going to be well over, probably over 600 points out of first, assuming Biffle goes on to win this race. For the second time this season, Biffle's trying to lead every lap and win. And he did that at Dover, leading all 200 laps from the pole. He started on the pole today, trying to lead all 250 at Richmond. And we are just a half hour away from today's live stream of the NASCAR Cup Series Darlington Throwback Race, the Goodyear 400, live commentary of that race on the channel. Won't want to miss it. Caution! For the first time today, with just 26 laps to go, this will not be our 6th caution-free race of the year, and that is going to trap the field a lap down. Not the caution Dale Jr. wanted to see. I don't even know why that was a caution. Mike Bliss got a little sideways in turns 3 and 4. Is that the NASCAR Phantom cautions that we see when they like to stack things up late in the race? That probably didn't warrant a caution, but we did see one, and Biffle will get to pit under the caution flag. And he'll be able to take 4 tires and fuel. We'll see anybody else pit right now who has not pit yet. Dale Jr. will take the wave around, but he was at probably 2 laps down, honestly. at the time of the caution, so Dale Jr. is cycled backwards a bit. I'm not sure if Ron Hornaday had pit before the caution or not. It's going to be interesting. Pit at lap 251. So you're talking about during the victory celebration? Pit then? Pretty easy stop coming up for Biffle. That's pretty much going to guarantee him the win with that caution coming out now. A little mistake on pit road. That's all right. Let's just get the practice in there. Almost stuck the fuel can into the driver's rear end. But we got through this pit stop with a little bit of a mistake. David Stremme wins the race off pit road. That might get him a lap back. It's going to be interesting how this restart will play itself out, as we're about to go back to green flag racing. Green flag is back in the air. Biffle on the outside of the lap cars on the restart. Dale Jr. gets a great launch, as well as Matt Kenseth. Biffle still stuck on the outside. Hornaday trying to get a lap back. Biffle does not want that to happen. Squeezes Hornaday on the backstretch. And Hornaday going to overdrive. Turn 3, he goes way up the racetrack, and he's going to be 3 wide on the outside off turn 4. And he gets squeezed into the wall. Contact from Ashton Lewis as well, as Hornaday just had what looked like it was going to be a good restart. Ended up not being that good. Biffle has a 1-lap lead on the field right now with 21 to go. But that timing caution in the middle of green flag stops. Guess the game seems to be generous to you. Yep, tonight it definitely is. Last night, on the other hand, not so much with the way the cautions played out. But today, yes, Dale Jr. was 2 down. He is 1 down now. And David Stremme likely is 1 lap down as well. So if we get a caution, Jr.'s going to get 1 lap back, but he's still going to be a lap down for the next one. And no free pass given in the Busch Series in this game, so Stremme's going to have to unlap himself the old-fashioned way as well, which is not going to be easy. Biffle has had the fastest car in the field all day. $18 laps to go for the Biff. Minus 27 minutes away from our Darlington race live stream. Gotta get myself a sandwich and to eat real quick, and in between streams, not on stream. And I'll start that live stream up immediately after I finish downing the sandwich. Jr.'s got pretty good pace on somewhat fresher tires right now. Obviously, he's got the clean air on Biffle, which definitely helps as well. If only that caution could have came out after everybody cycled through pit road, or even before Dale Jr. would have pit, because he was on the lead lap before he hit pit road. Ended up trapping him 2 laps down instead of just 1. I think he'll still get a decent finish out of it, though. I'm not sure how many cars are 1 lap down. I know Stremme is for sure, but there might be more than that. I think Hornaday had already pit. That's going to hurt him. We'll have to see where he ends up finishing, as we're 14 laps away from the checkered flag. Biffle has a 1-lap lead on the field as of right now. Caution came out in the middle of green flag pit stops during the final stops of the race moments ago with 26 laps left, and Biffle had not made his final stop yet. Got to pit during the caution flag and then trapped everybody that wasn't a lap down, if not multiple laps down. Pretty much locking the win in for Biffle as long as he doesn't get in an accident to the end of this race. He's going to have to be patient with Dale Jr. when he gets to him. He does not have to pass the 8. That's if he gets to him. 12 to go. He's slowly gaining on him. Pretty tough. Don't know if Stremme's 1 lap down. You believe he's 2? That could be. I mean, I don't know who's 1 lap down. There's obviously at least 1 driver. It's only 1 down. We'll have to see. Maybe there was somebody on pit road when the caution came out and they didn't get lapped a second time yet. That could be the case too. It's going to be the 17th win in the Busch Series season for Greg Biffle. His first in a few races. And we'll have 4 races left on the championship, and he's going to go on to lead all 250 laps. 10 to go. I'm actually trying to get to Dale Jr. right now, and I really can't get to him. By the way, Biffle ran his fastest lap of the race since the race start of a 21.366. That's faster than any lap he had in qualifying, and almost a 10th quicker than the fastest lap he has had in this race today prior to that. That is crazy. To the inside of Dale Jr. And Jr. will go 2 laps down again off the exit of turn 2. Giving Biffle the clean air again. And it looks like he's got a 2-lap lead on the field now, so I guess Dale Jr. is in second. I thought Biffle only had a 1-lap lead on the field with the caution. I guess he had a 2-lap lead on the field with the caution coming out. So good call on that, Mark DeMars. Strummy would be at least 2 down then. He must have been 2 down before the caution. Just stayed out, hoping for the yellow, at least to get him some track position, get fresher tires on the restart. So I guess it worked out for him in one way, shape, or form. Yeah, it was going to be interesting. Dale Jr. had a potential to still finish on the lead lap because he likely would have cycled ahead of Biffle once Biffle pit, assuming Biffle was going to take 4 tires at least on his last stop, which would have been with about 10 laps to go. But now, he's trapped 2 laps down. I mean, it's game over. We get a caution now. The race might come to an end anyway this late in the going. 5 laps to go at the Richmond Raceway. This track was probably my best on NASCAR Thunder 04. Probably my best on NASCAR 21 Ignition. It was my worst in the NASCAR Heat 4 and Heat 5 video games, so it's very topsy-turvy kind of a racetrack as far as how I run, but Biffle definitely clearly had the fastest car in tonight's race. Next race of the Busch Series schedule will be at New Hampshire, and that will likely be on Tuesday night. So again, Tuesday night, likely looking at the next live stream for NASCAR 05. And it will be another Busch race at New Hampshire. 200 lapper there, 200 mile event at the Magic Mile. And we have another bot in the chat with just 3 laps to go. Report it! Report it! That's the 3rd one. And everybody report it down in the chat as well. We almost got to the end without another one. I about overdrove turn 1. That was a bad spot to pause it, but I had to pause it. Why does that happen? Man, I swear. 3 bots. All in the final, like, what, 70 laps of the race? 2 to go now. Good thing the stream's going to be over in the next couple minutes. I just hope they stay away during the live commentary live stream. That's going to be a few hours long. I do not want to deal with that for multiple hours. They didn't show up last night. They showed up 2 nights ago, and we went a few months in a row without seeing one during the live streams after we used to get a ton on the channel on a fairly nightly basis there for a couple weeks as of a few months ago, but kind of went away after that. Final time through 3 and 4 for Greg Biffle. Checkered flag in the air, and Greg Biffle will lead and win at Richmond, leading all 250 laps in the Finale 250 tonight. This and Dover, definitely the more dominating races of the year. I'd say with the way the caution played out, trapping the field 2 laps down in this one, though, in the middle of green flag pit stops, this may be the most dominating race of the year for Biffle. May not have been that way if the caution didn't come out. But at least with the yellow coming out, it did not hurt Biffle. It certainly helped him. Second time this season that Biffle's been able to do that in the Busch Series. Now if I can only do it for a cup race on NASCAR 05. I only have 4 more races to try and do it. Maybe even less than that. One of them's Talladega. I guarantee I'm not going to be leading every lap in that one. Greg Biffle will get the win today at Richmond, his 17th in the Busch Series season. And we'll take a look at the finishing results to this one. Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishes in second, Matt Kenseth third, Ron Hornaday with another top 5 finishing fourth, David Stremme fifth, Ashton Lewis sixth, Bobby Hamilton Jr. seventh, Mark Martin eighth, Kenny Wallace ninth, Blue Castleberry rounds out the top 10. And I think there was only one driver that DNF'd in today's race with an engine failure. Two of them. That's right, I forgot about Kyle Busch. Corey Haynes and Kyle Busch were the two drivers who blew an engine today. So only 2 DNFs. We'll take a look at that at the point standings real quick, and then I'll hurry up, grab something to eat between streams. Again, next race will be the New England 200 at New Hampshire Tuesday night. Tomorrow night will be NASCAR 21 Ignition doubleheader at Pocono. Should be over a 200-point lead once again for Biffle on the season. He continues to have over 1 race lead. The nice thing with leading every lap, we know Hornaday did not lead a lap today, so no bonus points for the 2. And it looks like 30 points were gained for Biffle in the standings today, as he has a 215-point lead now over Hornaday. Busch, even after blowing an engine, still third in points. He's 651 back of first, though. So it is definitely just between the top 2 with 4 races to go. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys for the next live stream in a little bit. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. And I'll see you guys very soon. Live commentary at the top of the hour for the NASCAR Cup Series throwback race at Darlington.